knowledge from the Firebase to all of you. My name is Dominik Šimoník. Probably the last name is hard to pronounce for you. It's a Czech name, of course. I'm GDE for Firebase. I'm also a GDG organizer for Ostrava and also part of the GUG season and Čekytas community groups in Czech Republic. I'm working for two companies, Extended. We are making cool power efficient electric boards, and also I'm software engineer for Profig. There is my Twitter handle if you want to ask something on the Twitter. I'm trying to be there pretty active. Then you can definitely hit me there and I will try to answer or push anyone from the Firebase team to you. Small agenda for my presentation. First, we will do a small introduction to Firebase and Firestore to get some knowledge about these two things and small knowledge about the real-time database, but I will not talk about anything later about the real-time database. We will also hit cloud functions because they are really important for the Firestore. We'll do some data validation, and we'll try to set to all of you the right mindset before using the Cloud Firestore. And as always, I like examples, and I will do a real life example on my game up, which is the Minesweeper multiplayer game. And later there will be Q&A. If you have any questions, save it for the end. And if it's really important, you can unmute yourself and ask that, or send the questions to the chat. I will try to answer that question as fast as possible. Just quickly introduce what is Firebase. I hope that everyone who joined already using Firebase. I don't know, is there anyone who didn't use the Firebase yet? Oh, nice.
I haven't yet.
Okay. Okay.
I did use Firebase since I worked it on Quick Labs.
Okay. Then I will make sure that you are you will be ready for the Firebase to ready to use Firebase in your app. Firebase is a backend as a service. That means that you connect your Firebase SDK to your app, and all the services that are part of the Firebase are already there. It started as a small startup. It was only the real-time database, but Google acknowledged the power of the technology, and they took it under their, like, I don't know how to call it, but they took it and now they are using it. And like, I think they're implementing a lot of cool features there. They're trying to improve it every day, fixing bugs and things like that. And the Firebase team is one of the most active teams that I know from the Google. And they are really friendly. If you ask any questions on the Stack Overflow, they usually answer that after like 2 hours. There are 2 people from the Firebase team that are trying to answer questions like during the day, like 12 hours. They're answering only Stack Overflow questions. That's really funny. I'm trying to too, but usually I hit some questions in the Stack Overflow and they are already answered. And it currently focuses on bringing as many features to developers as possible. There was one question before my presentation. As I said, there is, for example, authentication. There are 2 databases. There is also some analytics for your app, some testing features, and that makes that you don't need any other feature for your app. Usually, you just connect the Firebase, and a lot of the features that your app need are already there. Story time. I am only sharing my slide, and I want to share my different tabs. Sorry about that. Right. All right. Okay. There is little known or well known. I don't know how it's now, but there was one thing that happened to small startup from the Colombia, and they had app which is about crowdfunding, and they used Firestore in a bad way. They're in a really bad way. And after 44 hours of usage, they spent $30,000 in Firebase, and that's why I called the presentation or the talk how to prevent panic attack from the Firebase Bill, because there was like, I don't know, five lines in code that would prevent that and make the bill, I think 30,000 or I think like 30,000 less US dollars. I think that would be in the free tier, their usage. It was implemented in a really bad way. And thing they did was they had this screen. I don't know if you all seen that. I will zoom that more. If there be any problem with my share with sharing the screen or the presentation, let me know in the comments or in the chat. They had this like cool screen. They showed how how much is already collected for some like the crowdfunding thing, and how many supports are there. And unfortunately, they didn't use Cloud Functions for collecting or aggregating this data. And every user that had opened this website was like downloading all the supports before him. Then that means that, for example, 100 user that was on that website had 16,000 downloaded documents for the Firestore. And unfortunately, you are paying for the Firestore reads and writes. It was implemented in a bad way, and you can prevent that by collecting or aggregating the data in the Firestore. I will showcase it later, but it's a really cool talk, or now I forgot the story, and I really recommend that before using any Firestore thing. What is real-time database? Okay, it was first version. It was probably the only feature at the start, and it's made for low latency solutions. For example, chat app is one of the examples that is best for the real-time database. You can use Firestore for your chat app, but it will be really expensive to implement on the Firestore. And you can use real-time database that is built for low latency solution, and you pay for the benefit. That small chat messages and really huge benefit on the real-time database. That's what it made for. And chat app is, for example, is a right example of that. Cloud Firestore, it was after that. It came like 2 years after Google took the Firebase, and it was a solution inspired by the real-time database, and it's modeled as a collection of documents. That means that you have like top collections. There's scheme that I showed, users collections. In this case, it's users collections, and each user have another collections of the documents called workouts. And for example, Easy Yoga have another collection of the documents called history. It have really strong queries. You can do, for example, higher than and lower than and things like that. There are some cases that you probably know from the SQL solutions, like MySQL, things like that. Some queries that are not in the Firestore and are not possible. Well known is group by and things like that. You can't do these things on the Firestore, and it's not possible because of the architecture that Cloud Firestore have. You pay for the read and writes. That's why I made this talk, because write model or write Firestore is the key for less spend or less, smaller Firebase bill. And you should always think about that you are paying for reads and writes. Downlink, for example, right example is again the chat app. It would be really bad to have a chat app that have like 1,000 messages, and each message is a document in the collection. And if a user will open that up and see that 1,000 messages, it will be 1,000 downloads in the Firestore, and that's really expensive. Probably at the start you will be in the free tier. After 1,000 users, you will definitely pay a lot of money, and you can prevent that by using the real-time database or write modeling in your Cloud Firestore. It's horizontally scaled. That's just cool feature to know. It's ready for any amount of the users that are coming to your app. It's ready for 1,000 users. It's ready for the 100,000 users. It's ready for the 100 million users. It will always work same, and speed will be not affected by number of users. It will always returns 100, for example, 100 documents in 2 seconds if the number of users of your app is 100 users. And if your number of users is 1 million, it will also returns 100 documents in 2 seconds. It will always be the same, and that means that you don't have to think about any like Google Cloud expensive solutions on the Google Cloud, because it's already ready for huge apps. And it's shallow by default. That means that if you're downloading, for example, one document, it will not return the collections that are under it. You have to do another call for the collection below it. Everyone understand, or any questions so far? Let me know if because usually in this part of the Czech Republic we speak.
Why does Cloud Firestore came 2 years after Firebase? Why is this inspired by real-time Firebase?
Okay. That's a very cool question. There was some cases that real-time database was not good for, and the architecture of real-time database was not ready for the huge apps and the huge amount of data stored. Real-time database is just a huge JSON tree. Cloud Firestore is have different architecture than that, and it's ready for bigger apps. That was number one thing why they created the new database in the real-time in the Firebase, because it was not ready for the bigger amount of the data stored.
Sorry to interrupt. So Firestore is schemaless, right, or NoSQL?
Yeah, Cloud Firestore is NoSQL. Same as the real-time database. The documents stored in the collections are similar to the JSON. It's not really the JSON, but yeah, it's not SQL. You don't have any schema. You can store any data there. But I will show later there are some cases that you preventing what is stored there and things like that. But yeah, it's no NoSQL database.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I probably already answered that, but Firestore versus real-time database. Firestore. Oh, okay. It's on the left side. It's real-time database. On the right side, it's Firestore. I probably did a mistake there. But real-time database is JSON tree, just the basic queries, and it's limited by region and limited by scaling. As I said, it was not ready for a huge amount of users. Firestore, it's collection of the documents. Documents are some kind of the JSON. Oh, okay. It has strong queries. You can do sort and query higher, bill, or equal, and things like that. It's regional or multi-regional, and it has automatic scaling. You don't have to care about any scaling. Google does for that. Does that for you. There is link. I will send it to the chat. I hope that works. Oh, okay. It not works, and it's bad link probably. Okay, I will. That link is forwarding you to great form that will answer you if you should use the real-time database or the Firestore. That's only thing. You can find it in the Firestore documentation. I will after the presentation I will share that link for you again. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm always telling that Firestore is like not a lone feature in the Firebase. If you're using Firestore, you usually use more than that in the Firebase. You're just not using the Firestore for your app. You're usually using the cloud functions also. Why is that? Because there are really cool features in the cloud functions that are helping you preventing the thing that I mentioned at the start, the 30,000 bill. Cloud functions are service execution environment, and they are attached to the events that are, for example, coming from the Firestore. And you can do some copying of the data in your database. You can do some aggregations, and Cloud Function we will do that for you, or you have to implement that Cloud Function. But after, for example, writing some data in the database, you can update any other document based on that, and after write schema or write architecture of your Firestore, you will prevent, thanks to that, or you will have less reads thanks to that. And it runs in a fully managed environment. It's managed by Google. You don't have to worry about any like servers and things like that. You just write the code, deploy that there, and your cloud functions are ready to run. They have 4 triggers for the Firestore. They have more than that. There are some triggers for the authentication, for example. After is user created, there are on-created or on-user created triggers and things like that. But there are 4 triggers for the Firestore. First one is on create. Probably from the name you know what it's doing. It's triggered when the document is written for the first time. When it's a new document created in your database, that cloud function, if you have any attached to that event, will be triggered, and you can do some cool things after that. On update, almost the same, but it's listening if any data in that document was updated. It's giving you also the data that was before the update and after the update. You can do, for example, if someone changed the comments, you can update if you have like documents in the database that will be comments, for example, in your app, you can do some boolean value there that document was updated. It's well known in the Slack. If you update some message there, there is small message edited, and you can do, for example, things like that with the on update trigger. On delete, that means that document was deleted, and you have data that was there in that cloud function, but usually you are using it just for deleting any other documents, some other documents in the database. And on the right, it's triggered when all of these before was triggered. There is an example of one cloud function. That cloud function is, for example, from the burger review app that I was trying to do in my last talk that I had for the India. And you have like burgers and reviews below it, and I'm counting stars. There are, or I'm trying to count how many reviews are there, and I am putting that value to the burger document. I can show that in the Firebase. Okay, we are in the Firebase console, and we have. I can use this. And okay, I can use speed mine. That's fine. And I can have burgers, and my name of the burger will be Tasty Burger. Don't worry about the ID. And if there is the collection called reviews and number of stars, for example, 3. How do ID again? And what this cloud function will do for me is that it will count number of reviews here, or it will increment the number of reviews, and we'll do something like this. It's not implemented in this project in Firebase, but you can, for example, you probably understand my example. Any questions for that? Okay, there are some questions. How is security handled? Yeah, I will answer that later in the presentation.
Yeah, Dominik, we can go over all the questions one by one.
Okay, nice. Oh, we are in the security part. That was the question. Security rules. That's really important thing of the Firebase, because if you are of the Firestore, if you're using your Firestore in your app, you have to think about it as an API. You don't have any extra layer on top of it. Yeah, the extra layer is the Firebase SDK, but the security is handled by the security rules. Security rules are just like the rules. They have specific syntax of the rule syntax, it's called, and you are telling what and who can write on the document. There are some limitations. For example, with the arrays in your document, you can have array in document, but you're gonna have hard time writing rules for that. In some cases, it's okay. In some cases, it's kind of problem. It provides access control and data validation. It has flexible syntax that allows you create rules that match anything. I have like 2 examples there. I have, again, burger reviews that I had previously, and I allow write. Oh, okay. I allow write if request or the write that is happening to the database have number of stars more than 0. If the document have stars 0 or less than that, it will it will throw an error on the client side, and you have to handle that in the app. One thing that you need to think about: Cloud Functions usually use Firebase Admin SDK, and Firebase Admin SDK it's not listening any rules or security rules. Then if you're writing something with the Firebase Admin SDK, you need to really strongly think about what you are really writing there, because any security rules will not prevent bad write by the Firebase admin. By usual SDK, Firebase SDK on the website or an SDK in the mobile app are listening to Cloud Firestore security rules, and you are okay with that. You will be usually notified if bad write is happening there, or user can't read data because of something. In this case, it would be case when the document have visibility visibility parameter of body of the visibility parameter will be public. You can in this case you can read that document. If the visibility will be, for example, private, on the client side it will throw error that because of the cloud there is some message because of the Cloud Firestore rules you can't read that. It's some kind of different, but you understand me, whatever. I copied some of the rules that I have in my app. You can valid data that are being written into your document. In this case, for example, incoming data are created by, and you can prevent that created by will be only string and nothing else, or created at will be timestamp. Or also you can check if the document have fields that you need for your app. Firestore indexing. That's where I left it on the presentation. Firestore indexing is really important part of the Firestore, and why it's really powerful, because Cloud Firestore ensures that every query performance or every query performance is have required index for that query, and it ensure that query will be really fast. And because of the indexing that happening in the Firestore, because every value or every field in the documents are indexed. Every document and every field in the Firestore are have indexes. Because of that, your queries are really fast. But there are some cases that you need to tell Firestore to put extra indexes there. There are limitations. You can do like 200 of these compound indexes or the single field indexes. I can tell, for example, that collection burgers name, collection name, and I want that it will be indexed as the ascending thing. I always need burgers by the name. I will call on my client side by the name and create a really strong index for that for me for that. I don't want to create that right now, but get me there. Firestore indexing is a really powerful thing about that. Every field in Firestore is indexed. Last thing, app engine limits. All of the Firestore features have some limits. All of the features in the Firebase have some free tier, and you can find it pretty easily how you are using your, oh, I don't know, I didn't want that. I wanted this button in the bill, and you can find these tiers in the Firebase console. As you can see, 50,000 reads per day is it's in the free tier. After it's not really that expensive. The same invocations, and you can see I have, for example, this. Yep. Cloud storage, also hosting. You can host the website on the Firebase, and there are some free tier limits for that. I just wanted to showcase how easily you can find how you are using Firebase, and if you are going to pay anything really soon or not. Usually I am pretty good about the limits, and as I know, really a lot of developers are okay about the limits, and a lot of features that are using are in the free tier, and Firestore sometimes is one of these features. Okay, we are now in the mindset part. I have some key things that I want to say before you using the Firestore. First thing, it's your API. I saw some use cases where Firestore had extra layer on top of it. It's not necessary. Your SDK, because Firebase is backend as a service, you already have all these services connected to your API, to your app, and Firestore is one of them. You have to count Firebase as your SDK. What it means, what you are downloading for the Firestore, you can't tell. I can again show example. I didn't want it this wing. I want to speed mine because it's my. Oh, okay. I have email. Hopefully nobody will send me any spams there. But if I will download this document, it will get to the client side. On the web side, it will be a really big security issue because I don't know, I have some social thing happening in my app, and I want to check Dominik's profile, and with his name, I will also download his email. That's not good. Usually it's handled by duplicating data. Duplicating data in the Firestore is good. It's one thing that is really common, like what moment for developers that are coming from the SQL, I'm like, they are like, what? I will copy data in my database, and yeah, you will copy data in your database. Duplicating is okay. You are duplicating data because you will make less reads, or you are preventing some security issues in your app. In this case, I will create the second document that have same ID in the collection called users public, and I will only put nickname there, number of games, and the photo URL. And if someone will check my profile on the client side, he will not get my email or anything else because of that, because I updated my database to be ready as an API. That's first thing. Second thing is document health limits. Limits is 1 megabyte or 20,000 fields. even the map. And what it means, you can store pretty much a lot of data in your documents. You can store, someone from the Firebase team called it that you can store one whole book of the Lord of the Rings there, I think. And you will be still okay with the 1 megabyte. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, it's pretty understandable. That means you can use your documents pretty heavily. Sometimes it's good to create sub-collections. Sometimes you can create, for example, array of the things in your document. I can have, I can, in this case, of the burgers, the parts of the burgers or the ingredients, I can have them here as an array. Meat, it's a very important ingredient of the burger, or I can have sub-collection. And now we are coming to the case that if I would have the sub-collection, it will make extra read or extra reads in this case, because I only have ingredient. I only want the ingredients. If I will create the array in my document, you don't need any extra read. You already have all your data that you need. That's second key or second thing that I wanted to say to you before write mindset. One write per second into single document. That's usually you don't run into this thing because your SDK handles that really well, but there is no good usage to have document that will have chat thing, for example, with all the messages, because that will mean a lot of writes and reads in that single document, and you will run into really strong issues and some duplicates of the data and things like that. You don't want that. Prevent that by creating collections, extra collections below that, or use real-time database in the case of the chat app. Don't over-engineer. I saw a lot of databases in the Firestore that had over-engineered structure. Over-engineer usually means that you think only about the read and writes, and you create the sub-collections things and duplicating data, a lot of duplicating data. Sometimes more reads doesn't mean it's bad. Try to don't over-engineer that. And yeah, only read single document. That's tough to explain what it means really, but try to put as many things as you can in the single document, even with the duplicating and by the cloud functions and things like that, because you will run into less issues in your app, into less issues in your security, and in less number of reads and writes. And duplicating data is good. I said it many times. Any questions before the example? Security thing was answered. Any patterns for assigning IAM permissions for Firebase apps? I am not sure if I understand it well. I'm not sure if I will. Okay, can you explain that question for me? I will answer that. Hopefully, I will answer that. Like hearing you.
You want to go through all the questions or just specific to that question?
Okay, try to explain that in the chat. I will answer that after the example.
Okay.
I'm not sure what's happening, but I will go to the example thing. We have like last 6 minutes, I think, or 16 minutes. How much time we have left?
6 minutes.
6 minutes. Okay, I'm good. Minesweeper game. I just wanted to showcase your my case that I did for the Minesweeper game. I already showed a lot of things, and I think better for you because a lot of things that I already showcased in my talk was from that for the Minesweeper app, and I'm not sure if I have anything to showcase anymore because I run into Firebase console more than I wanted, and I'm not sure if I have anything to showcase. Minesweeper game, you probably know, I save a whole grid here. Users, I don't want download. If someone will download the profile, I don't want to have user or any different user that the one on the profile have the email from him. I will create the second collection users public and things like that. I already showcased a lot of things for my example. Rather, I will answer questions in the Q&A. Then we are in the Q&A session. Sorry about that.
Yeah, okay, Dominik. We can go through the questions in that case.
Okay.
Just a moment.
What do you mean with VC? Well, yeah, voice, definitely. You can ask with the voice.
Okay, so do you know how it typically? I guess I come more from kind of dealing with relational databases, but you know, for example, for account security, sometimes or oftentimes, what developers end up doing is actually hashing their fields and then comparing hashes. I guess that's one part of the security of Firebase that I didn't understand. Are key and value hashings normal, or do you just secure the entire Firestore?
The whole Firestore, and not the field. Yeah. The one thing that came in mind, thanks to your questions, common question that I had in the past was what's the bad thing or bad example for the Firestore bad app for the example for the Firestore. Usually that's that is app that have really a lot of relations in their database. When you have a lot of relations, Firestore is not good for that. It's hard to have a lot of like relations between the documents and collections. It's hard to handle that. Usually when you have app like that, SQL database is way to go and not the Firestore.
Okay, thank you.
Other question?
Tarek had one more question in the beginning. So it is document objects, Firebase is document objects, and also can you opt out of auto scaling with GCP or Firebase or Firestore?
Oh, I now sorry. I now listen to the chat, and I have trouble with making security rules. There is cool video series called I don't know how it's called Firestore. Yeah, get to know the Cloud Firestore. And Todd is one of the best Firebases that I know. He's really good in the explaining Firestore and how it works. And he have like 3 videos or 4 videos that he's explaining the security rules and how it works. And Fireship.io, yeah, I am also the contributor there, but the GDE behind that is one of the best GDEs from the Firestore or from the Firebase. And I also recommend that Fireship is really good and have some examples about security rules and good videos, or like the I forgot the thing, the documents about that. Yeah, how the security is handled Firebase. Okay, okay, yeah, okay.
So then we had Cloud Data Store versus Firestore. What to use?
Cloud Data Store versus Firestore.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, but I will tell the truth that I don't have. I never run into like Cloud Data Store. You can hit me on the Twitter, and I will hit to another Firebaser that will probably better answer that question. I'm not sure if I'm good to answer that question.
Sure. Yeah, we will also share your Twitter link when we send the after event email.
Yep.
Yeah. And next was Realtime DB is limited by region. Can you explain more about this?
Realtime database is limited by what?
Region.
Yeah, limited by region. You can set your real-time database to a specific region, and that means that you will pay less for hosting your database. But if your app will get some calls from the region that is not that one, it will take a couple of seconds, and it will be slow. But by selecting the regional thing, you're just updating your payment thing, like the payment usage or the tier usage.
So does the payment also differ based on the region that we choose?
Yeah, depends. Kind of depends. Now I think it's the same for all region. In the past, it was based on the regions. I think now it's not depends on the region, and usually you have all the regions okay. And usually selecting multi-regional app is usually better, because having app just for one region, there are some cases that it's good, but usually multi-regional is better.
Okay. And then we had a question about recommendations on where to use Firestore or Realtime Database.
Recommendations on where to use Firestore. Yeah, that was the document that I forgot to share. Thank you for that. This is Realtime Database. And there is great document made by Google. I'll share it in the chat. And based on that form, you can it will answer you what is better for you. Usually, you have to answer the question if your app will have a lot of reads and writes, and small amount of data. If it will have small amount of data and a lot of reads and writes, go for a real-time database. Anything else, it's go for a Firestore.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Rajasil, or do you have more to add?
I don't have anything to add.
Okay. No, I was just asking Rajashilan, as he was asking, he's coming from the perspective of recommending Firestore for GCP architecture problems.
Yeah, I'm coming from the perspective. Oh, okay. Firestore from GCP architecture problems. That's like tough. I don't know how to if there's anything to answer for that. As I said, usually Firestore is not good for the databases that have a lot of relations and things like that. And also there are some other examples that are not good. Firestore is not good for. I don't know if there's anything that I need to add for that.
Okay. And then any patterns for assigning IAM permissions for Firebase apps?
Yeah, what he means with that. Can you,
Rajachilan, can you unmute yourself and elaborate more about your question? Oh, okay. You can type it in if it's okay. Otherwise, you can tap Dominik on Twitter and ask your question later on.
Yeah, I probably already answered that, but
okay.
I use over a Realtime Database because of the amount of bandwidth or amount of users that can handle. The structures is a little bit different, but usually if you want more data to store in the database in the Firebase, go for the Firestore. There are small amount of space that you need in the database. Only the chat app that I have in my mind, because this is the chat app is the one that needs a lot of bandwidth and a lot of read and write, and there is small amount of data stored. But anything else is like the case that's good for the Firestore.
Okay. And then how is security handled in Firebase? Do you just hash them, or can GCP handle encryption without using a one-way algorithm?
I think I answered that already.
Okay.
Tariq, that was from the Tariq, right?
Yes.
I'm not sure if I'm sorry, Tariq, if I am not saying your name right.
No, it's okay. You're saying it right.
Okay, I think I already answered that.
Okay. And then regarding security rules, probably it's just about the resource. You can probably share with me any resource that you find best for the security rules that we can send to that handy software in the email.
I will send all the resources that are good for all of you, and on the email that will come after the event, you can send it.
Yeah. And also, if you're okay to share your presentation, you can add that as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, sure. Then it would be great if you can add all the resources in a slide in your presentation at the end, which they can take care of. Thank you so much, Dominik. Nikunj, we would be sharing the resource related to what you asked in the presentation.
Sorry, there's extra question, and I want to answer that because it's a really good question. I forgot to showcase that.
Sure.
I will take care of the screen right now. Give me a second. And yeah, you can run Firestore locally. It's pretty new. It was released this year, and they, thanks to Firebase Firebase tools that you have installed via npm locally by npm.e/g Firebase tools. Thanks to that, you can host in the newest Firebase tools. You can emulators. One of them is the okay. Taken. I'm not sure if it's taken. I already stopped that. Why it's not happening? Okay. You can have emulator locally. It's not duplicating your data that you have in the database already. You have to make own data locally, but you can run Firestore locally and test. And that nope. Firestore, unfortunately, does not support the. It's not really true. It supports some migrations. You can like download whole Firestore via Cloud Console, Cloud Firebase Console, or Google Cloud Console. You can download whole Firestore and upload it somewhere. There are also some tools made by the developers. One of them is Firestore Migrator called. I will share that in the called Firestore Migrator. It's one of the tools that you can use for that. There is no native thing in the Firebase that will do export and things like that for you, unfortunately, or import. And I think we are done.
Thank you. So if anyone has any more questions, you can unmute yourself if you're comfortable and ask, or you can type them in the chat. We'll give a couple more minutes for questions if anyone has.
Just curious. So is Firestore statically typed, or rather, is it strongly typed? And if so, does it support more abstract data types, like for example, timestamps and UUID?
Yeah, it is typed, and there are some like basic types like string, number, and things like that. And there is also a type called object, and for any other types that you will have, object is for that. I don't know. I think I answered that. There is also, for example, type called array. There is also timestamp type. Timestamp is not usual timestamp that you are used for, that you're already using in your app. Of timestamp that Firebase have is kind of different, but yeah, Firebase SDK, you can use the timestamp. And I think I already said all the types that there are in the. Yeah, there is also a null and gale point type. UID, there is no type for like UID. You can store the like string and things like that in that. There are some types in the short.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, then we will go to. Thank you, Dominik, for answering the questions. And everyone, feel free to reach out to Dominik on Twitter. If you, we will be sharing his Twitter ID in the email later on.
Yeah, thank you all for the questions, and thank you. If you have any other questions, hit me on the Twitter. I will try to answer that, or direct you to any other Firebase that will have power to answer that. Thank you again.
Thank you, and I want to thank GDG Capital Region for joining us today for hosting the session. Thank you, Linda. So raffle time. So please fill the feedback form. I am sharing the link in the chat as well.